What if I told you your car might already be trying to warn you about a repair bill you can't afford? Every strange noise has a story, and some of them end in disaster. But don't worry. Today we're breaking down the 7 most important sounds that could save your wallet and your car if you catch them in time. Number 1. Grinding when braking. Have you ever pressed down on your brakes and been met with that dreadful grinding sound? It's not just unpleasant, it's an alarm bell for your bank account. Whether it's early or late, on an open highway or a city stoplight, that harsh noise means your brake pads are crying out for attention. And if you keep ignoring it, things are going to get a lot more expensive. That grinding comes from one thing: worn down brake pads. Brake pads are designed to wear slowly every time you press the pedal. But once they've been exhausted, you're left with metal scraping directly against the rotor. A recipe for disaster. If the sound doesn't scare you, maybe the cost will. See, new brake pads typically cost a few $100s to replace and might take an afternoon at the shop. But damaged rotors, that's a whole new level of expense. You're not just swapping a consumable part anymore. You're replacing a crucial piece of the braking system that could run you into thousands. And if the rotors aren't dealt with quickly, the damage can spread to calipers or even cause complete brake failure. Think of your brakes as a sturdy pair of shoes. Brake pads are like the soles, built to take the brunt of your movement. When they wear thin, it's just like walking directly on the bottom of the shoe. What happens then? You're not just scuffing the sole, you're destroying the entire shoe. Your brakes work the same way. Neglecting that grinding sound is like saying goodbye to the basic function of stopping safely. But here's the part that should really make your ears perk up. Ulmer's Auto Care Center warns that driving with brakes in this condition isn't just about money, it's about safety. Without healthy rotors or calipers, your car's ability to stop effectively becomes seriously compromised. And if that grinding progresses to the point where your brakes start to fail completely, imagine trying to come to a halt on the highway or at a busy intersection and realizing too late that your car won't stop in time. So, what's the solution? Replace those brake pads as soon as you hear the very first grind. Not only does this keep your rotors intact for far longer, but it also prevents a long and expensive chain of repairs. It's a small investment up front to avoid far greater risks to your safety and your finances. It's incredible how a quick check in maintenance can save you from a total failure, or worse, an accident. And if you think that's scary, just wait until you hear about the next sound that could be hiding under your hood. Number 2. Knocking from the engine. A knocking sound coming from your engine can seem like a small annoyance at first, but make no mistake. It's a sign of a much bigger problem brewing under the hood. This isn't just a random noise. It's your engine signaling that something internally is off, and ignoring it could lead to catastrophic failure before you even realize what happened. One of the most common causes of engine knocking is low oil pressure. When your engine doesn't have enough lubrication, the metal components inside start to grind against each other. Over time, this wear can cause the internal parts, like bearings or pistons, to fail. Other culprits behind that knocking noise could include worn-out bearings, which directly support your engine's moving parts, or misfiring spark plugs, which create irregular combustion patterns. Essentially, that knock is your engine's way of crying out for help because something isn't functioning as it should. The consequences of ignoring this sound can't be overstated. If you keep driving despite the knock, the damage will worsen until your engine completely gives out. Think about what happens to someone with an irregular heartbeat who never gets it checked out. The heart works overtime to compensate, eventually leading to a potentially fatal collapse. Your engine works the same way. It's a finely tuned machine that depends on harmonious inner workings. When knocking signals something is off, continuing to drive without inspection can lead to a seized engine. At that point, you're likely looking at a full rebuild or replacement, which can cost upwards of $5,000. Here's another way to think about it. Would you rather invest a small amount in regular oil changes and timely inspections, or roll the dice on risking sudden, catastrophic engine failure? The knock will only get worse, and so will the damage it causes. Once critical components fail, repairing or replacing them becomes a much bigger and costlier job. The bottom line is simple. There's no ignoring a knock. It demands your attention immediately. Address it when you first hear it, and you'll avoid not only astronomical repair costs, but also the stress of losing your car when you need it most. And just when you think no sound could be as alarming, wait until we talk about shrill, high-pitched noises hiding under your hood. The next warning you should never overlook. Before we move on, I will like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Number 3, squealing under the hood. That high-pitched squeal you hear under the hood when you accelerate? It's not just an annoying sound, it's a warning sign you can't afford to ignore. Squealing like this is often the first sign of trouble with one of your car's most essential components, the belts. Specifically, it's a red flag that the fan belt, also called the serpentine belt, might be worn or loose. In some cases, it could also hint at issues with an even more serious piece of equipment, the timing belt. The fan belt plays a crucial role in keeping your car running smoothly. It powers important systems like the alternator, air conditioning compressor, power steering pump, and water pump. Without it, these components stop working, meaning your car could overheat, lose power steering, or even shut down completely. That simple, sharp squeal is your signal that the fan belt isn't functioning the way it should. And ignoring it? That's how a manageable issue turns into a breakdown, costing thousands in repairs, or even leaving you stranded. To put it simply, your fan belt is like the chain on a bicycle. When it's loose or worn, the whole system starts to fail. If the belt snaps while you're driving, the systems it powers shut off instantly. No power steering means you'll struggle to control your car, and without the water pump, your engine can quickly overheat. Even your air conditioning will fail, adding to the frustration. The worst part? A broken fan belt can cause extensive damage to surrounding engine components, turning what could have been a simple replacement into a financial nightmare. But that's not the only belt you should be worried about. The timing belt, known as the cam bolt in some parts of the world, ensures that your engine's valves open and close in perfect synchronization with the pistons. When it's worn or damaged, it can create squealing or knocking sounds, warning you that it's nearing the end of its life. A failing timing belt isn't just a mild inconvenience. If it snaps, it can cause catastrophic engine damage because the internal components will collide. Fixing the aftermath of a failed timing belt can cost thousands of dollars. Replacing the fan belt or timing belt might seem like an expense you can put off, but it's actually one of the most cost-effective maintenance steps you can take. Ulmer's Auto Care Center even recommends replacing both belts at the same time. Not only does this save on labor costs, but it also prevents the headache of dealing with one belt failing shortly after the other. It's a simple, proactive measure that avoids larger repair bills and keeps your car running smoothly. Number 4, hissing after shutdown. That faint hissing sound after you shut off your car might seem minor, but it's anything but harmless. It's often a critical indicator of a leak in your car's cooling system, a leak that could lead to a cascade of problems if ignored. This noise is caused by coolant or steam escaping, and while it might not feel urgent at first, it signals that your engine's ability to stay within a safe operating temperature is rapidly deteriorating. Simply put, ignoring it could cost you thousands in repairs. Here's how it works. Your cooling system relies on a series of hoses, a radiator, and a thermostat to circulate coolant and keep your car from overheating. If a hose cracks or comes loose, the escaping coolant can create that unmistakable hissing sound. Steam may even become visible under the hood, a sign that things are heating up in the worst way possible. Over time, these leaks reduce the amount of coolant available to control the engine's temperature. Without enough coolant, the engine starts to retain heat, and that's when serious damage occurs. As stated in research from Main Street Mechanic, leaving this issue unaddressed can lead to severe mechanical failure, with repair bills climbing into the thousands. If you've ever heard a kettle boiling over, you've got a pretty good analogy for what's happening inside your car. The hissing is a small release, a signal that pressure is escaping. However, unlike a kettle where you simply turn off the heat, an overheating engine can crack components like the cylinder head or damage the radiator. So, here's the takeaway. The moment you hear hissing after shutting down your car, treat it as an immediate problem. Have your cooling system inspected for leaks, check the hoses for cracks, and don't delay in topping off or replacing coolant as needed. It's a quick action that could save your engine and your wallet. And if you think hissing sounds bad, Wait until we move on to another noise that threatens your car's suspension and steering. Number 5. Clunking when turning or driving over bumps. Hearing a clunking sound when you turn the wheel or drive over bumps? That noise might seem harmless at first, but it's one of the clearest warnings your car can give when something is wrong with its suspension or steering system. Clunking doesn't just happen randomly. It's your car signaling that vital components like shocks, struts, or bushings are worn or damaged. These parts are essential to keeping your ride smooth, your tires stable, and your vehicle safe to drive. The suspension system's job is simple yet critical. It absorbs shocks from the road and ensures your tires maintain consistent contact with the surface. Over time, components like shocks and struts wear out, losing their ability to cushion the vehicle and absorb impacts. When that happens, you're left with metal parts clanging together or loose components shifting out of place, creating that unmistakable clunk. Another frequent offender? Worn bushings, which are small rubber or polyurethane pieces that reduce friction between metal parts. When these weaken or crack, they allow too much movement in the suspension system, leading to those sharp, jarring noises. Ignoring this sound might seem like a way to save money, but it's really an open invitation to much more expensive problems. A failing suspension system directly impacts your car's handling. You could notice the steering feels loose when turning, or that your car rocks excessively after hitting a bump. Over time, uneven shock absorption takes a toll on your tires, causing irregular wear patterns that shorten their lifespan. Worse yet, a weakened suspension could lead to a sudden loss of control if a component completely fails while driving, especially during sharp turns or emergency maneuvers. Supreme Chevrolet of Gonzales emphasizes that putting off suspension repairs can cost thousands of dollars in the long run, and the risks to safety are far greater than most drivers realize. So the next time you hear a clunk when turning or driving over a bump, don't ignore it. A trained mechanic can inspect and pinpoint the specific problem, ensuring your suspension stays intact and your car remains safe. And while dealing with clunking is serious, wait until you hear about a sound that could signal trouble with your power steering. It's next on the list. Number 6, whining during acceleration. A faint whining noise during acceleration might not seem like a big deal at first, but it's often a clear warning that something's seriously wrong with your car's power steering or transmission. It's the kind of sound you can't afford to ignore, because catching it early could mean the difference between a simple fix and a repair bill in the thousands. In most cases, that whining is tied to something as simple as low-power steering fluid. The fluid acts as a lubricant, allowing your power steering system to operate smoothly. Without it, the pump starts to strain, creating that high-pitched whine. Over time, this strain can lead to a completely failing power steering pump, a repair that's far more expensive than just refilling the fluid. In some situations, the sound may even indicate internal damage to the power steering system itself, which can result in complete loss of steering. And once that happens, you're not just dealing with an astronomical repair bill, you're looking at the very real risk of losing control of the vehicle. The sound can also be a sign of trouble within the transmission. When the transmission fluid is low or old, it can cause the internal components to grind against each other, producing that distinct whine as you accelerate. Without proper lubrication, these moving parts begin to wear down quickly, triggering a domino effect of mechanical failures. Main Street Mechanic highlights one crucial clue. Whining noises from the transmission tend to rise and fall with engine speed. That pitch change as you accelerate provides a strong indicator that the transmission, rather than the power steering, is involved. So the next time you hear that faint whine when you step on the gas, don't ignore it. It's a call to action. Take the time to check your fluids or visit a trusted mechanic. Addressing it now could not only save thousands in repairs, but also keep your car running safely. And while this sound is alarming, the final noise on our list is even more disturbing. Stay tuned to find out why. Number 7, loud bang or backfire sound. That loud bang or backfire coming from your car isn't just startling. It's your engine's way of signaling that something is seriously wrong. What's actually happening is fuel igniting outside the engine's cylinders, a condition caused by incomplete combustion. Normally, the combustion process in your engine is precise, with the perfect balance of fuel and air ignited at exactly the right moment by the spark plugs. But when that balance is disrupted, the unburned fuel either explodes inside the exhaust system or elsewhere in the engine, producing that sharp, gunshot-like noise. So what causes this? A backfire can occur if your fuel injector is malfunctioning and sending more fuel than needed, a rich fuel mixture, or if the opposite happens and there's too little fuel in the mix, a lean mixture. Both throw off the combustion process, leaving unburned fuel to ignite somewhere it shouldn't. Faulty spark plugs, bad ignition timing, or issues with the fuel pump can all be contributing factors. Regardless of the cause, one thing is clear. Your engine's normal rhythm is completely out of sync. Think of it like a choreographed dance. When one dancer misses a step, the whole routine falls apart. That backfire is the misstep in your engine's carefully timed movements. Ignoring a backfire might seem tempting, especially if it's an occasional bang instead of a constant issue. But the risks of brushing it off are enormous. For starters, backfires waste fuel, which means higher costs every time you fill up. And that sudden explosion of heat and pressure can damage critical components of the exhaust system, including the catalytic converter and muffler. A failed catalytic converter alone can cost well over $1,500 to replace. Supreme Chevrolet of Gonzales notes that backfires are a direct result of poor combustion, and if left unchecked, they can lead to long-term engine damage. The longer the issue persists, the higher the chances of permanent harm to your vehicle. The solution? Early detection. By addressing the root cause of the backfire, whether it's tuning the air-fuel ratio, replacing a faulty spark plug, or repairing the fuel injector, you can stop the damage before it starts. Fixing these issues early restores the engine's balance, improves fuel efficiency, and prevents catastrophic failures. A loud bang might feel like a one-time scare, but it's actually a wake-up call for your engine. Every time you hear it, think of it as your car begging for attention, because the cost of ignoring it isn't just loud, it's life-changing for your wallet and vehicle alike. Every sound your car makes is like a message waiting to be decoded, if you're paying attention. Ignoring those noises doesn't just put off repairs, it transforms manageable fixes into major expenses. Main Street Mechanic warns, bad noises don't normally go away on their own, and it usually gets more expensive the longer you let it go. By identifying these sounds early and acting quickly, you can save thousands of dollars and avoid unnecessary stress. So the next time your car starts talking, listen closely, get regular checkups, stay ahead of issues, and reach out to a trusted mechanic at the first sign of trouble. If this video saved you even a couple of bucks, give it a thumbs up. That small click helps other drivers find budget-friendly fixes too. Have a question or a tip that worked for you? Drop it down below. I'm always checking in and happy to chat. For more straightforward DIY repairs and no-nonsense car advice, hit subscribe. No hype, just practical results. See you on the next ride.